My name is Elena Martinez. I'm 28 years old, and until recently, I worked as an executive assistant at a global tech corporation, or at least that's what everyone, including my husband Javier, believed. The truth is far more complicated. My real last name is Ruiz, and Francisco Ruiz, the CEO of the company, is my father. But I chose to keep my mother's last name and start from the bottom without anyone knowing who I really was. Elena, my father told me 5 years ago, if you really want to join the company, you need to understand how it works from the ground up. I accepted the challenge. I graduated with honors in business administration, but began as an executive assistant using my mother's last name to avoid favoritism. It was during my second year at the company that I met Javier Torres. He was an ambitious and charismatic sales executive. We fell in love quickly, or at least that's what I believed. You're different from the other girls in the office, he told me one night after our first date. You've got class, even if you're just an assistant. I should have caught the red flag in that even if, but I was too in love to see the signs. We got married after a year of dating. My father, who always kept a professional distance at work, wasn't entirely convinced. Are you sure about this, Elena? He asked me. There's something about him I don't trust. Dad, Javier loves me for who I am, not for what I have. He doesn't even know you're my father. Exactly my point, he said, but he respected my decision. The first 2 years of our marriage were good, or at least they seemed that way. We lived in a modest apartment that matched our supposed combined income. Javier would often complain that we should be able to afford something better, considering his position at the company. I don't get why old man Ruiz hasn't promoted me yet, he would grumble. I'm the best salesperson they've got. Everything changed when Carolina Vega joined the company as the new marketing director. She was the heiress of a wealthy family and never missed a chance to remind everyone of it. At first, I didn't think much of it. Javier mentioned they were working on projects together and staying late at the office. But then the signs started. Late-night text messages, phone calls that ended abruptly when I walked into the room, a different perfume on his shirts. You're imagining things, he'd say when I asked. Carolina and I are just colleagues. But one afternoon, while organizing documents in the conference room, I overheard them. When are you going to leave that assistant? Carolina's voice was unmistakable. You deserve better. Someone on your level. Soon, babe, Javier replied. I just need to handle this delicately. I don't want drama at work. I froze. My world was crumbling, but something inside me hardened. 5 years of hiding my identity had taught me how to keep my cool. That night, when I got home, Javier was waiting for me. He had an expression I'd never seen before. We need to talk, he said flatly. About what? About Carolina. His face showed surprise for a second, but he recovered quickly. Yeah, about Carolina. Look, Elena, this isn't working. You and I, we come from different worlds. Different worlds. My voice was calm. Too calm. Yes. Carolina can offer me opportunities you never could. She's got connections, money, status. And our marriage. Our vows. Let's be realistic, Elena. You're an executive assistant. I need someone who can help me grow in my career. At that moment, the door opened. Carolina walked in like she owned the place. Did you tell her? She asked, smugly smiling. Carolina's offering me a position in her family's company, Javier continued. An executive role. Triple the salary. I see, I replied, my voice steady. Get out of my house. Javier suddenly shouted, losing his patience with my calmness. Carolina is rich. She can give me the life I deserve. Carolina smirked. You should thank us for being honest with you. Though honestly, I always knew you weren't enough for Javier. That's when something clicked inside me. 5 years of lying about who I was, working from the bottom, proving myself. It had all led to this moment. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I rarely used at the office. Dad? Yeah, it's me. Remember how you said you wanted to get to know your son-in-law better? How about tomorrow in your office? The color drained from Javier's face. Dad? What are you talking about? I turned to him with a calm smile. Oh, didn't I mention? Francisco Ruiz, the CEO. He's my father. I guess we really are from different worlds after all. Carolina staggered backward. No. No way. Is 9 a.m. tomorrow good, Dad? Perfect. Javier and Carolina will be thrilled to attend. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. Everything looked normal, but it wasn't. Employees were whispering. Is it true? They asked. It is, I said simply. But I'm still the same Elena. Why work as an assistant? They asked. Because I wanted to learn the business from the ground up. Like my father always says, you can't lead what you don't understand. At 8:55, Javier and Carolina arrived on the executive floor. Javier looked pale, with dark circles under his eyes. Carolina held her haughty posture, though I could see her hands trembling. Good morning. I greeted them from my desk. Mr. Ruiz is expecting you. Elena, please, Javier whispered as he approached. Can we talk about this? There has to be a way. A way to what, Javier? Explain why you were cheating on the CEO's daughter. Or justify your snide remarks about a mere assistant. Carolina stepped forward. Look, Elena. We all make mistakes. Let's be professional about this. Oh, Carolina, I said with a smile. I assure you, this will be very professional. The doors to the main office swung open. My father stood there, as imposing as ever in his gray suit. Good morning, his voice echoed down the hallway. Please come in. Once inside, the silence was deafening. My father sat behind his desk, watching them. So, he began, I finally get to formally meet my son-in-law and his friend. Mr. Ruiz, Javier stammered, I can explain. Explain what exactly? My father cut him off. How you've been cheating on my daughter. Or maybe you'd like to explain the emails I found. Carolina turned pale. My father pulled out a folder. Very interesting emails, he said, discussing how to use confidential company information for the benefit of the Vega family business. That's a lie, Carolina protested. Is it? My father pressed a button on his phone. Sandra, please bring in the legal team. 3 lawyers entered the office, each carrying folders full of documents. We found evidence of confidential data being leaked, one of them explained. Marketing strategies, customer data, financial projections, all sent to external email addresses. Javier collapsed into his chair. I was just trying to secure my future. Your future? I said, my voice making him flinch. What about our future? The vows we made. Elena, my father said gently, do you want to proceed with the charges? I took a moment to look at Javier, the man I had once loved, who had chosen money and status over our marriage. Yes, I answered firmly. Go ahead with the charges. You can't do this. Carolina shouted. My family has influence. Influence? My father scoffed dryly. Miss Vega, your family is on the brink of bankruptcy. Why do you think they were so desperate to get our information? Carolina was speechless. You're both fired, my father continued. Effective immediately. Security will escort you to collect your belongings. We'll await contact from your attorneys regarding the corporate espionage charges. Elena, please. Javier dropped to his knees in front of me. I love you. We can fix this. I looked at him with pity. You know what's saddest, Javier? I loved you so much I was willing to keep my identity a secret. To live modestly, all just to prove that you loved me for who I was, not what I had. I failed, he whispered. Yes, you failed. Not just as a husband, but as a human being. Security arrived and began escorting them out. As they reached the door, Carolina turned around one last time. All this why? Just to prove a point. No, Carolina, I replied. To show that a person's character isn't measured by their title or bank account. Something neither of you ever understood. As the door shut behind them, my father came over and hugged me. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I should have warned you about him. No, Dad. I needed to learn this lesson myself. I sat down in one of the chairs, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. What now? I asked. My father smiled. Well, it's been 5 years. I think it's time you take your rightful place in the company. Are you sure? More than ever. You've proven not only your skills, but your integrity. And that Elena is worth more than any title or last name. I looked out the office window at the city beyond. My life was about to change drastically, but this time it would be on my own terms. The months that followed were a whirlwind of changes. News of my true identity spread quickly throughout the company, and with it came the expected reactions. Some employees, especially those who had always treated me with respect, didn't change. Others, who had looked down on me for being just an assistant, now scrambled to get on my good side. Elena, Sandra stopped me one day, the executive who used to ask me for coffee without even making eye contact. I want you to know, I always saw your potential. Really? I replied with a calm smile. Because I clearly remember when you said assistants should know their place. My new office was on the executive floor, but I frequently visited different departments, especially the assistants area where I'd worked for years. One morning, while reviewing some documents, Maria rushed into my office. Elena, you have to see this, she said, showing me her tablet. It was a headline from a business blog. Scandal in global corporation. Vega heiress arrested for corporate espionage. The police arrested Carolina Vega this morning, Maria explained. Apparently, she leaked information not only from our company, but from 5 others she'd worked at before. And Javier, he pled guilty in exchange for a reduced sentence. He's cooperating with authorities. I leaned back in my chair, absorbing the news. I didn't feel joy over their downfall, just a deep sense of closure. That afternoon, I received a letter at my office. It was from Javier, sent from the detention center. Dear Elena, I know I don't deserve your time, but I need you to know something. Everything I did out of greed and ambition. But when I met you, I truly fell in love with your kindness, your intelligence, your strength. I let ambition blind me. Carolina promised me wealth, connections, everything I thought I wanted. But in the process, I lost the only thing that truly mattered, your love and your trust. I don't expect your forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that my biggest regret isn't losing my career or my freedom, it's losing you. Javier. I placed the letter in my desk drawer, without responding. Some apologies come far too late. A year after that fateful day, the company had undergone major changes under my leadership. I implemented a professional development program that allowed employees at all levels to grow within the company. The message was clear. A person's value isn't determined by their starting title, but by their ability and work ethic. At the company's Christmas party, my father stepped up to the podium to make an announcement. As many of you know, I've led this company for 30 years. It's been an incredible journey, but it's time to make way for the next generation. I'm proud to announce that starting next month, my daughter Elena will be taking over as CEO. The room erupted into applause. Maria, now my chief executive assistant, had tears in her eyes. Your father must be so proud of you, she said afterward. He is, I smiled, but not because I inherited the company, because I earned it. A few days later, while clearing out my old assistant's desk, I came across a photo. It was from the day of my wedding to Javier. We were both smiling at the camera, young and seemingly in love. You okay? My father asked, stepping into the office. I'm fine, I replied, placing the photo in a box. You know, for a long time I wondered if I'd made the right choice, hiding my identity, starting from the bottom. And now I know it was the best decision I could have made. It allowed me to see people's true nature, including my own. My father smiled. Your mother would be so proud of you. I know, I nodded. She always used to say that character is revealed in how you treat people who seemingly have nothing to offer you. That night, as I drove home, I passed the apartment where I'd once lived with Javier. There were new tenants now, new lives beginning where mine had once ended. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Maria. Ready for tomorrow's meeting? The new internal promotion policy is stirring things up. I smiled. Life has a funny way of coming full circle. 2 years ago, I was the one sending those kinds of messages to other executives. In my new home, I keep a small reminder of everything I've been through. My old executive assistant ID badge, framed next to my college diploma, and my new title as CEO. When people ask why I keep it, I tell them this story. I talk about a young woman who chose to start from the bottom, about a marriage destroyed by greed, and about how sometimes we have to lose something to gain something much more valuable, wisdom. Because in the end, true success isn't measured by the titles we hold or the money we have, but by the integrity we live with and the lives we impact along the way. And every morning, when I walk into the office and see employees greet me with genuine respect, Not because of my last name, but because of who I am. I know that every moment of the last 5 years was worth it. Just like the new company motto I wrote myself says, true value isn't in the position you hold, but in how you hold it.